The journey of a musician, especially a pianist, is often seen as a dance between the mind, the fingers, and the instrument. However, there is a fourth, often overlooked partner in this beautiful dance, the ear. Ear training is the sacred process of connecting what you hear to what you understand and what you can play. It is the art of translating the abstract language of sound into the concrete language of music theory and performance. It's more than just recognizing a familiar melody. It's about developing an inner ear that can perceive the intricate relationships between notes, the emotional color of chords, and the flowing narrative of a chord progression. This skill is the very foundation that allows a musician to play by ear, to improvise with confidence, and to interpret written music with genuine emotional depth and understanding. Imagine trying to write a novel without understanding the alphabet or the structure of a sentence. That is what it feels like to play the piano without a trained ear. You might be able to replicate the notes on a page, pressing the keys in the correct order, but you are merely a typist, not a storyteller. Ear training empowers you to become a true musical author. It is the bridge that connects the technical execution of playing with the soul of the music itself. When your ear is finely tuned, you begin to hear not just a series of sounds but the tension and release, the light and shadow, and the emotional journey that the composer intended. This connection is what separates a technically proficient player from a true artist who can move an audience. The ultimate goal, especially as we venture into more complex musical territories, is to master the perception of intricate chord sequences. This is where the music gains its richness and complexity. A simple melody can be harmonized in countless ways, and the choice of chords beneath it dictates its entire character, whether it sounds joyful, melancholic, suspenseful, or triumphant. A trained ear can navigate these harmonic landscapes with ease, identifying not just a single C major chord but understanding its function within a larger sequence. It hears how a G7 chord yearns to resolve to C, or how an A minor 7 chord adds a touch of wistful color before moving to a D minor 7. This level of auditory perception is the key to unlocking the deeper secrets of musical expression. Therefore, embarking on the path of ear training is not an optional side quest. It is a central part of your development as a pianist. It transforms your relationship with music from a passive one of consumption to an active one of deep comprehension and creation. It is a commitment to understanding music from the inside out, to hearing the very grammar and syntax of the sonic world. As we delve deeper, we will explore the building blocks of this skill, starting with the simplest intervals and gradually building up to the sophisticated vocabulary of complex chord progressions. This journey will require patience and dedication, but the reward is a lifetime of profound musical connection and boundless creative freedom, allowing you to speak the language of music fluently. The entire vast universe of Western music is built upon a very simple fundamental relationship, the interval. An interval is merely the distance in pitch between two notes. Think of it as the atomic unit of melody and harmony. Learning to recognize these distances by sound is the first and most crucial step in ear training. We start by associating each interval with the opening notes of a familiar song. For example, the ascending perfect fourth might sound like the beginning of Here Comes the Bride, while a major sixth could evoke the start of My Way. By creating this mental library of sonic associations, you are no longer hearing random jumps in pitch. You are identifying specific quantifiable relationships that form the very DNA of every melody you have ever heard or will ever play. Once you have a firm grasp on identifying intervals, you can begin to stack them on top of one another to form chords. A chord is simply 3 or more notes played simultaneously, and each type of chord has its own distinct emotional quality or color. The most basic chords are major and minor triads. A major chord like C major, C, E, G, often sounds bright, happy, and stable. In contrast, a minor chord like C minor, C, E flat, G, typically evokes a feeling of sadness, introspection, or melancholy. Training your ear to instantly distinguish between these fundamental qualities is paramount. An excellent exercise is to play a major chord on the piano, listen intently to its sound, and then lower the middle note by a half step to make it minor. Go back and forth, absorbing the dramatic shift in mood. From these basic triads, we expand our vocabulary to include a richer palette of chordal colors. We introduce seventh chords, which add another layer of complexity and tension. A dominant seventh chord, like G7, creates a strong sense of anticipation, pulling the listener's ear towards a resolution. A major seventh chord, like C major 7, sounds lush, dreamy and sophisticated, while a minor 7th chord like D minor 7 feels smooth and mellow. The process of learning these is the same. Play the chord, listen deeply to its unique character, and try to describe the feeling it gives you. Is it tense? Is it relaxed? Is it bright or dark? By personalizing your perception of each chord type, you are building a direct, emotional connection to the sounds. The practice of deconstruction is key. When you hear a chord, either in a song or as an exercise, try to sing the individual notes within it. This is called arpeggiation. If you hear a G7 chord, try to sing the root, G, then the 3rd B, the 5th D, and finally the 7th F. This exercise trains your ear not just to recognize the chord as a single block of sound, but to dissect it into its constituent intervals. This analytical skill is indispensable when you begin to tackle complex chord progressions, as it allows you to understand the voice leading and the specific notes that create the harmonic movement. It is a slow, methodical process, but this foundational work on intervals and chords is what makes advanced auditory skills possible. A chord progression is the musical equivalent of a sentence. While individual chords are like words, each with its own meaning and color, a progression strings them together to tell a story. It creates a narrative arc with a beginning, a middle, and an end, guiding the listener through a journey of tension and release. Mastering the art of hearing complex chord sequences is about learning to follow this story. The most fundamental progression in all of Western music is the 2-5-1. In the key of C major, this would be D minor 7 G7 C major 7. Hearing this sequence is like hearing a basic grammatical structure. The D minor 7 sets up a question, the G7 heightens the suspense, and the C major 7 provides a satisfying answer, a feeling of returning home. To train your ear for these progressions, you must start by internalizing the sound of these common patterns. Record yourself playing a 2-5-1 progression in all 12 keys over and over again. Listen to the recordings throughout the day until the sound of that specific harmonic movement becomes as recognizable as a friend's voice. Your brain will begin to anticipate the resolution before it even happens. Once the 2-5-1 is ingrained in your auditory memory, you can start introducing variations in more complex sequences. For example, you might encounter a progression like C major 7, A7, D minor 7, G7. Notice the A7 chord. It doesn't naturally belong to the key of C major, but it serves to pull the ear more strongly towards the D minor 7 chord. This is called a secondary dominant, and recognizing these borrowed chords is a hallmark of an advanced ear. The real challenge and beauty lie in hearing longer, more intricate sequences, especially those found in jazz, gospel, or classical music. A progression might wander through several key centers before finding its way back home. For instance, a sequence could be C major 7, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7 flat 9, E minor 7, a 7 flat 13, D minor 7, G7 flat 9, C major 7. At first glance, this looks like an intimidating string of characters. However, a trained ear breaks it down into smaller, manageable chunks. It recognizes the F sharp minor 7 flat 5 to B7 as a 2-5 leading to E minor 7. It then hears the E minor 7 to A7 as another 2-5, this time leading to D minor 7. Finally, it identifies the familiar D minor 7 to G7, the primary 2-5 that resolves back to the home key of C major 7. You are no longer hearing a jumble of chords, you are hearing a chain of related musical ideas. A powerful exercise to develop this skill is transcription. Choose a piece of music with a rich harmonic structure, maybe a jazz standard or a ballad. Listen to a short phrase, just a few seconds long, and focus only on the bass line. The bass notes often play the root of the chord, providing a foundational map of the progression. Once you have identified the bass movement, go back and try to determine the quality of each chord, major, minor, dominant, seventh, and so on, built on top of that bass note. This process is like being a musical detective, using your ears as the primary tool to uncover the harmonic secrets hidden within the music. It is difficult at first, but with persistent practice, your ears will become remarkably adept at navigating even the most labyrinthine chord sequences. Developing a world-class ear for complex harmony is not an esoteric gift bestowed upon a chosen few. It is a skill cultivated through consistent, intelligent, and dedicated practice. The most important tip is to integrate ear training into your daily routine, making it as habitual as brushing your teeth. You do not need to set aside hours at a time. In fact, short, focused sessions of 10 to 15 minutes every single day, are far more effective than a single long session once a week. Consistency is the magic ingredient that rewires your brain and solidifies the connection between sound and recognition. Use technology to your advantage. There are countless mobile apps designed for ear training that can drill you on intervals, chords, and progressions while you're on a bus, waiting in line, or on a coffee break. Another indispensable practice is to constantly sing what you play and play what you sing. This creates a powerful feedback loop between your inner ear, your voice, and your fingers on the keyboard. Before you play a complex chord like F major 7 sharp 11, try to sing its individual notes F, A, C, E, and B. This forces your brain to internalize the unique sound of that specific harmonic structure. Conversely, try to imagine a simple melody in your head, and then find the notes on the piano without any trial and error. This practice, known as audiation, is the ability to hear music in your mind. It is a powerful tool for improvisation and composition, and it strengthens your overall musical intuition in profound ways. Do not be afraid to record yourself. Set up a simple microphone and record your practice sessions, especially when you are trying to transcribe music or play progressions by ear. When you listen back, you will often be surprised by what you hear. You might notice inaccuracies in pitch, rhythm, or chord voicings that were not apparent to you in the moment of playing. This objective feedback is incredibly valuable, acting as a gentle but honest teacher that highlights your weaknesses and points the way toward improvement. It allows you to become your own critic and to take ownership of your musical growth, fostering a sense of self-reliance and deep analytical skill that will serve you throughout your entire musical life. Ultimately, the path to mastering complex chord sequences is a journey of deep listening. It requires you to approach music with an active, curious, and analytical ear. Immerse yourself in genres that are rich in harmony like jazz, R&B, and the works of impressionist composers like Debussy and Ravel. Listen not just for the melody, but for the harmonic bed that supports it. Ask yourself questions: why did the composer choose that chord? Where is the progression going? How does the harmony make me feel? By constantly engaging with music on this deeper level, you are not just practicing an exercise, you are cultivating a lifelong relationship with the language of sound, transforming yourself from a mere player of notes into a true connoisseur of music.